Okay, so I I have got to get out of this habit of waiting till the last minute. So what did I do today? This is the vlog for May 25th, 2018. What did I do today? Fat lot of nothing. I got up. It was cloudy. I decided not to go for a walk until it got sunny, and it never did. Today was just cloudy all day. No rain. I think it rained a little bit yesterday. Yeah, and that was a surprise. But that's good. I mean, this is keeping everything cool, and hopefully, the thing I'm going to with my dad on Sunday is sunny by comparison, because that's going to be sort of an event day. I think I talked about that already. Car show. But yeah, uh, this is a day that I feel like I sort of needed. Uh, I've been stressing about the unemployment stuff. I actually did 3 job searches because it looks like this standby thing isn't actually going to work out. The standby is only supposed to work if you are expected to return to work within 4 weeks, not 8, which is the standard for the state of Washington. So basically, the whole standby process is of no benefit to anybody except people who are gonna get a month off and then go right back to work, less than a month. So it's just, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Technically, we're getting free money, although we're working for it. Or more appropriately, we're trying to find work. I submitted my resume to 3 job applications uh, that probably won't lead anywhere. And if they do lead somewhere, I'm going to have to haggle with them to get a very good salary, or I will not be leaving my current job, which I enjoy very much. Um, but yeah, I took a day to stay inside and play video games. I played quite a bit of Terraria today, and I made some good progress. This won't mean a lot if you don't understand what. Well, let me come at it from the perspective of somebody that doesn't play Terraria. You make a character in Terraria, and the character, when you create it, you're basically just making an appearance. There's no leveling in Terraria. Everything that you can do is decided by the items that you find, equipment that you wear, or tools that you pick up, or weapons that you use. So, where you find specific equipment isn't necessarily random, but what equipment you find in those areas is. So let me give you an example. When you create a world, it creates certain biomes within that world. So you'll have a desert, you'll have a tundra area, you'll have a jungle, and you'll have nasty areas of either what is known as corruption or crimson. You pick one corrupt, rather the game generates one or the other when it creates the file, the map, and then you'll only see corruption in certain maps, and you'll only see crimson in others, unless you do very, very specific things that involve taking items from different worlds into the other. Still with me? So I said the tundra biome, right? Every world will be created with a tundra biome. If you go into that tundra biome and you dig deep enough, you'll find um, icy chests. And the icy chests are guaranteed to have one sort of, I hesitate to call it a rare treasure, but they're rarer than the other items. The chest will have a couple potions, maybe some money, a tool or two, and then one of these rare items. And because it's the tundra biome and it's an ice chest, all the rare items inside are ice themed. So the icy mirror, or the ice sword, or the flurry boots. Um, Many of these items are very similar in their function to items you can find in other biomes, just with a cool blue/cyan color and shape that evokes ice. Um, So the problem is some items necessary for like decorating or building in a specific style can be sort of hard to get because they require specific things to spawn in the world when you create the map, and if those things aren't present, you don't have a chance of getting them. So, for example, an item called the Living Loom, despite what it's called, it's not used to make clothing, it's used to make items out of living wood, which gives them a greener, like, instead of the wood used by a carpenter, it is literally like a tree that is still in the process of growing. So it'll have leaves and little branches and stuff sticking off the side. Um, the living wood lamp just looks like a small sapling with a light suspended within it, which I really like the look of, and I like to use those as lamps to light the ground at night. So I had one living tree in the map that I initially created, which is where you get the living wood chest that can contain a living loom. And my living tree and its living chest did not contain a living loom. So for the last couple of days, I've been making small worlds and exploring them to see if one of these huge living trees is located there, and then going into the root system, finding the living chest, and checking it for the living loom. Now, this all sounds like quite a bit of work, and in fact, some might call it grinding to get this one specific item. But first of all, it's an utterly optional item. All it does is allows you to make equipment, or rather, furniture and building blocks in this living wood style. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing, it's actually not. It doesn't feel very grindy. What is sort of complicated is you have to run from the starting point, which is at the middle of the map, one direction and then the other direction as far as you can go to see if you can find any of these huge trees. They're very easy to spot. In fact, you have to either run through them a hollow point in the tree to get to the other side, or you have to dig your way through with a pickaxe. And along the way, you get to see all kinds of cool stuff. You get to see how the world was randomly generated. And it's a little bit of exploration, and I love exploration in video games. I especially love worlds that are randomly generated once. And let me explain. If you play an old Castlevania game, it's an excellent example. Those levels are set. They were designed in a very specific way so that you would encounter very specific obstacles along the way, and you'd have to overcome them, either fight through or avoid them with your guile or whatever. On the other hand, you have Warframe, which every mission that you go on is a randomized map, and they'll have rooms that are connected with halls and in sort of patterns that you'll start to recognize, but they are random every time. So if you go to a mission on the Europa tile or planet, you will always encounter on specific maps icy outposts or high-tech ships in orbit. An even better example would be Diablo 2, where the entire map, except for a few set pieces, was randomly generated whenever you started a new game, and whenever you started the game in general in multiplayer. But Terraria maps are randomly generated once, and Minecraft is another game that has this in common. The world is generated the first time you load in, but then remains static, which is great because it means you get something different whenever you generate a new world, but then you have a sense of ownership for this map. You get to know its little idiosyncrasies. You will, move a few screens over and go, Three Tree Hill, so called because at the top there are 3 trees, except I cut one down, so now there's only 2 trees, but we still call it 3 Tree Hill. Anyway, so that sense of ownership is, I think, really important, because what's the point of exploring a world that's going to go away as soon as you log out of the game? And exploring game maps where the map is the same every time is really great the first few times you go through it, but once you get to know that area, the sense of familiarity removes the sense of, excitement at finding someplace new. So with Terraria, you get both. You can create as many maps as you want and explore them for as long as you want. And if you ever get bored with one, you just make a new one. The only cost is that your structures will have to be rebuilt. So all the buildings that you're housing NPCs, and in fact the NPCs that move into your town based on the buildings that you make, will have to be, repopulated. But since that's a big part of the game and one of the things I find really fun, I don't really have a problem with it. So that's what I did today. And now I've talked about it for 10 minutes. So the plan tomorrow is to go see Deadpool in the morning. Hopefully I'll do it this time, because I've been saying that for about a week or two now. Anyway, I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.